Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to your weekly corner Späti. It is myself, Nick, joined with Rob. I don't remember what this coalition's called, but it's that one.
I don't remember either. On a beautiful day.
Beautiful day. It's sunny, 18 degrees in Berlin. You know what that means.
No more problems.
We're podcasting.
No more problems in the world.
Nothing. Yeah, I do legitimately. Yesterday was pretty nice. I went out and went on the canal with Yulia. And then just there is something about Berlin when it does get past 15 degrees and the sun's nice and shining. It gives you that reminder that it is in fact one of the best cities in the world, baby. When you have nothing to do, you can just get day drunk. No one bothers you really. It's sick. It's awesome.
A very generous New York accent. One of the best. I'm not particular, to each their own, but it's got to be up there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great city.
I always thought it a Northern European phenomenon. Hamburg was the same. It's just a certain kind of warm, sunny, not too humid, not too
Make you feel some type of way.
Makes you feel some type of way.
But yeah, so enough of us enjoying a lovely. I had to work all day. I take that back, but the beautiful day that Rob and I are not enjoying, we are coming here to give you the hard hitting facts of Europe is still losing its mind.
We're hopping in a bus and driving overnight eastward. We're just going to see where we are when daylight breaks.
Yeah. And our first stop is Bulgaria, I guess, on Rob's book.
Bulgaria. I feel like Bulgaria in general, I think today, this week, we're recording a little ahead of schedule. Don't want to talk too much about the state of the war. I mean, especially for our purposes, the biggest fallout of the ongoing war is this stark realignment isn't even the right word, but this division, right, of the poles of the world, right?
Yeah. We're approaching a multipolar world. I'd say
increasing military spending, a lot of new declarations and Europe is definitely saying we're all one and we're all on the same
who
team.
isn't saying it though is Friedrich Merz today spoke as the opposition leader of the German government today.
What's
particularly about
Fox up to.
Yeah, particularly about he was the first one to speak actually today, which is very interesting. And he made his whole thing about I want to help the Bundeswehr. I'm about that. But we're changing the Constitution over this, and we're changing the, Germany's ability to go into debt. He will not stand for that. He wants to do it the proper way.
Unlike Lindner, who has sold himself out.
He called him out. He's like this. He's like,
you call yourself a German?
He's like, yeah. He's like this FDP, is the worst with managing our finances of any government. Just calling him out, being like, you know what? We were like this, bro. And now
Linus is sleeping in bed, thinking something's gnawing at him. He can't get to sleep. And he just so happens to sleep in the same exact room as the room from the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey. And at the end of the bed is a giant schwarze Null, just radiating certain energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, there are no eyes. It's just a zero, but Linda feels it piercing his soul.
That's it. That's exactly it. He
can hear it saying to him, "You did green shit." Oh, I took an awesome photo of an anti-green sticker.
You mentioned though the green shit. Friedrich Merz has a problem with obviously the Schuldenbremse. Would be fucked up. It would become you have to physically change the German constitution in order to then for Germany to invest the 100 billion in their military the way that Scholz wants to. But then Friedrich Merz goes classic right-wing hawk bullshit is they're funding, where the 100 billion's going, someone's even going to climate science. The fuck that got to do with defense. And then so he does this thing of and he does this he thinks it's a major fucking own. He's you can have your feminist foreign policy. I just want the funding to be done right. And I want it to go directly to the Bundeswehr. And everyone was doing a little woo, what is he up to today?
Everyone loves their using woke or cancel culture.
Yeah, I love that shit. Yeah, even Vladimir Putin said that. Then said that you can what is it? We don't need your genders and stuff like that. So yeah, Friedrich Merz definitely on the like hopping on the train of the they them Bundeswehr is not what he wants.
Something to return to. I want to share this with you very quick. This sticker I saw in Brandenburg.
Oh hell yeah, that's sick.
These are some sick owns. Do you want to read them off for us?
Yeah, so I'll read it first in German. Second one's the best one. Yeah, okay. Verbotsfetischisten, Deutschlandhasser, Schreibtischtäter.
I never heard of a Schreibtischtäter.
Klimaextremisten, Moralapostel und Pädofreunde.
It's a Grüne.
Nein, danke. Half of these are historically very true.
I mean, I think most of them are at least I think all of them are at least partially.
So what is it? So they fetishize banning everything. They hate Germany. They're
a Schreibtischtäter. Does that mean like you're like do everything like you just sit at your desk?
Yeah, you're like an armchair philosopher sort of thing. Yeah,
I love that. I love
climate
that
extremist, a moral apostle, and then the
friend
of pedophiles, a pedo friend.
The
I love that.
People are on it. All right, they're watching the greens.
Yeah. So the thing I just think is really funny that then Germany may not remember Germany loves their fucking constitution and they also love their obsession with debt. Germany may not actually do the 100 billion thing because of an incredibly absurd conservative obsession with debt.
Well, I mean that would be like. We say a lot of things. Tensions were high late February. We were all going, we were getting I was getting scared and, cooler heads, by which I mean, since, proper economic fiscal heads will prevail.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows? Well, that's
even Alexander Gauland though gave Scholz some respect, some big ups, if you will, for saying that then he was happy that Germany was not getting involved in a war.
Okay,
so that was a very interesting, weird thing because also Gauland just loves Putin, so that's very much like.
Well, these dynamics are playing out all across Eastern Europe and a little bit of the rest of Europe in particular. But I wanted to
getting wacky.
We're gonna touch on a few different countries. I know we got Italy, Serbia, some of the Baltics in the mix. But I want to start with one that I think captures, in itself, is capturing this. Again, it's not a new Cold War, but it's the dynamic of. It's like. The poles around which the politics, the culture war is now charging itself. That country being Bulgaria.
Yeah, we already packed our suitcases. We're in the car. We're driving.
We woke up. We're in. There's a checkpoint to get into Bulgaria.
We don't know why because it's a part of the European Union. We keep telling them that we're citizens of the European Union.
We drove. I don't know. We came from Serbia for some reason. There's no checkpoint to get into Serbia for whatever reason. Okay, I don't know if we've checked in on Bulgaria since because we were covering the ongoing election crisis last year. But they have a government.
Woo!
Good, good for them. A 4-party coalition, and even those parties are like coalitions themselves. Where they finally, the reason, if you recall our Bulgaria episodes from last year, the reason it was so hard to form a government is because all of the new protest parties did not want to work with any of the established parties, being Gerb, the main center-right one, BSP, the Socialist Party, the main quote-unquote center-left one, but it's just the inheritor of the Communist Party, which is the vaguely center-left party in a lot of Eastern Europe, and this kind of free safety, generally liberal, but also pro. Gets a lot of votes from the Turkish minority, the Movement of Freedom and People's Party. So the way this finally broke, and then there was the New Populist Party led by a tall, bald man who sings songs about sexy ladies. The way it finally broke was that there was another new protest party called We Continue the Change.
That's the whole name of the party?
That's the whole name of the party.
That's awful.
They got the most seats. They could not register as a proper party in time, so they're part of a coalition. And the reason that they could get on and then the other parties that they're partnering with who are registered as parties surrender their party lists and whatever. One of those parties, which is part of the coalition and is allowing We Continue the Change to actually exist in the Bulgarian parliament is Volt Bulgaria.
Woo!
Which has, I think, 2 seats of their own compared to 60 something for We Continue the Change. And they formed a coalition with the new Populist Party. There is such a people with, again, tall, bald man. Democratic Bulgaria, a smaller kind of like pro-Western, quote unquote, liberal party, maybe more like younger and activist oriented. And the BSP, the Bulgarian Socialist Party. So they are kind of breaking the cordon sanitaire there, but they are chastened and quite tied up with all this Russia nonsense. If you with the Russia and pro-Russia and anti-Russia politics. Now, the reason I want to talk about Bulgaria is because this new party that finally pulled it off, getting a government in place, is interesting because on the one hand, it's basically exactly what we would expect to resolve this situation. The 2 leaders of the party were both in the caretaker government that was there for like about a year while these elections kept going on and no government could be formed. The caretaker government was quite popular because they were prosecuting corruption. They weren't the old government. They're just like, hey, we have a government. Why don't we just, stick with them?
Yeah. The rest of the government was like taking shrooms and they were just like chilling and being like, it's okay. It's fine. I'm here.
Now, part of the reason that makes sense is because it rhymes with, even if it's not exactly the same situation in Austria, for example, where like the technocrats or the elite people kind of managing the situation are seen as a defense against corruption and against populists. And it was after, what was it, the second or third failed government that the former caretaker, the former economy and finance ministers of the caretaker government left their positions in the caretaker government and started this new party, We Continue the Change.
These names are so bad.
A little bit about the 2 of them, both Harvard boys.
Ooh.
One Harvard Business School, one Harvard undergrad. They're both businessmen. One got Canadian citizenship, which was a bit of a kerfuffle. People pulling the old Ted Cruz line on him that he couldn't be. That was partly why he stepped down from his position, because you can't have dual citizenship in the Bulgarian government for some reason. That's what they said. I don't know.
That sounds like some made up bullshit.
How
do you even have that?
Who's laughing now because he's prime minister?
I know. How do you even have that in a country that then just like so like? I mean, I'm curious if how many people in Bulgaria probably also have Turkish citizenship.
Important question. I guess none of them are allowed to be in.
No, exactly. That's how you just get rid of all the
cabinet.
Yeah, that's how you get rid of all the like not true Bulgarian. The not ethnically pure Bulgarians. Then right.
These are the people. They're often described as pro-Western. They're talking a lot of. They're both young. They're talking about how we're finally going to root out the corruption in Bulgaria. And so in the broader context of the war in Ukraine, that can be seen as a very positive development for the West. I can't hold this in any longer. So the one who became, of the 2 that founded the party, one's the prime minister. The other one is, I think, the finance minister. The one who became prime minister is one Kirill Petkov. He's 41. And, like I said, he's an economist, entrepreneur, running the government, says he's going to fight corruption. Now, a lot of people pointed out the racism surrounding the double standard, let's say, between the Ukrainian refugees and the migrant crisis, the ongoing migrant crisis of the past several years. I think the one that got a lot of play was someone giving an interview on TV describing like the civilizational difference between Middle East refugees and Ukrainian refugees.
One of the biggest ones too was just a member from PiS, the Polish governing party, being like, we have not taken in a single refugee, but we've taken in 2 million Ukrainians. Like, not one Muslim will step foot in this country. So, yeah, they're just like on the nose about it, that they are racist now, which is not good. But go on. Yeah.
Okay. And then I was looking and I found a very wild quote, like the worst of all of them. Then, civilizational is like one word and, it betrays certainly a line of thinking. But this is This is not a heat of the moment quote I'm about to read. This is like a minute long. this is a lot of racism. You know, you can fit a lot of racism.
It's
into
like
a minute long talk.
it's the Eminem rap god thing.
And this is from the Prime Minister of Bulgaria, Kirill Petkov. He is Prime Minister.
All right.
And he gave this quote. I will say I have not been able to find a video or anything, but it's quoted in tons of Western outlets. Okay. He stated, quote, "These are not the refugees we are used to. These people are Europeans. These people are intelligent. They are educated people. ... Don't know what was skipped over there. This is not the refugee wave we have been used to. People we're not sure about their identity. People with unclear pasts who could have been even terrorists." That's from the Prime Minister of Bulgaria. That's how is no one? Oh my God. So welcome to
That's amazing.
your new pro-Western government.
Yeah.
They learn fast.
They learn very fast. I genuinely find it so one, all right. Europe's gonna get so much worse after all of this. Every single right-wing party is just being so yeah, they're gonna use this as like their humanitarian nonsense shit and just fucking go with it. Like, all right, Hungary has elections next week. All right, they're a waste of time to even fucking cover because like Fidesz is so fucking powerful, and you know Viktor Orban is the poster child of the international like nationalist movement. It's gonna get like we've been seeing a right wing push in Europe as of late, but now that they can just like openly be racist but then also be humanitarian, like they're loving it. And exactly that, like that is the best quote of, you know, just like the sign of the times of like what era we are approaching. Like this new fascism or whatever it is like obviously been here, but it's not like some spooky like populist thing that then was being warned about of like, oh, Trump and Boris Johnson and this and that and that. Like Orban's policies and stuff like that have been so fucking normalized now by the rest of Europe. And
there was a very funny, on that note, there was a very funny political article I was reading today, which was like, Europe worries that focus on the war in Ukraine could take emphasis off the like EU campaign against democratic backsliding. Like because they need Poland and Hungary, they can like get away with their policies now. And it's just like, are you the last people in the world to figure out that no one gives a that they
no one actually? It's like COVID too. At the same time, it's like that just magically disappeared. You know, like
I love the idea of like a Joe Rogan type being like, or just anyone being like. It's so I don't know if you notice this now in the U.S. I picked it up from one of my cultural bellwethers, the one and only Bill Simmons, who is like now he's like he loves saying like, man, masks are ridiculous. I can't believe people are wearing masks, and it's like. You know, they've like held it in all this time and now they're like speaking out about it because it's like they can sense the like shift going on and now it's, you know, now it's like you don't have to worry about the mask police or whatever. Yeah, I can see people doing the same thing for like, who really cares? You know, they're actually, you know, Viktor Orban, he gets stuff done.
Oh, yeah, no. Like I've been saying that the best example of Orban's policies being normalized is Greece. You know, incredibly racist government that is just like because the government is so racist made it better for Europe's horrible refugee policies. So yeah,
it's the point. There's people are just happy that there's something else to move on to.
Yeah,
that they don't have to. The EU doesn't have to keep. I mean, they will still keep doing they'll issue like I'm sure hand wringing reports about democratic backsliding.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything though. Of course,
like, you know. But there's bigger fish to fry.
Yeah,
on the EU level.
But Bulgaria is also interesting too. Sorry, back to
please.
our.
There's more to dig into.
Oh yeah,
we got the rate. That was just the appetizer.
Yeah,
the racist quote.
So the thing I think that's really funny about Bulgaria that people don't recognize on the surface is because like they are an EU member. They're also a NATO member. Good portion of the population is not happy about that. And there's been like pretty like in comparison to other European countries, a pretty large like pro-Russia, like anti-NATO movement. Not even just anti-NATO, like strictly pro-Russia. Like that they wish that Bulgaria sided with the Russia on this invasion.
I love the description of the events because the Petkov, the new prime minister, is going around giving talks and like using all this harsh language. And the way it's described is it just sounds like people like heckling him.
Yeah,
he goes around like the people like the pro-Russian hecklers. There's a lot of different like what's interesting is that one aspect of it is I forget the exact date in March, maybe 9th, like in early March is the like independence. Bulgaria celebrates its Independence Day, and independence was won from the Ottoman Empire during the Russia like a war where Russia was like with helping the Bulgarians free themselves from the Ottomans. And so like I think the parliament even passed a resolution being like, okay, we're going to celebrate it, but we don't want to celebrate Russia in doing so because that's bad. That's bad. Yeah, we can't celebrate independence because then that's pro-Russia.
How fucking cucked are you? We can't celebrate our own independence because that would be pro-Russia. Bulgaria is
very complicated.
Is a land of contrasts,
and it's like I can see how that can fit in with like a broader throwing off the like pro-Russia as part of becoming pro-Western and like growing up, as a country or whatever. It's a wedge issue because on the one hand, policy-wise, Bulgaria is not doing too much. They vote in favor of sanctions, but not in favor of sending any weapons.
Yeah, they're not sending any weapons. They're one of the handful of NATO members that we're going to get to that won't do it.
There's I tried to look up how many new ones there are, but there was a new NATO battle group announced for Bulgaria, 1,000 troops.
Yeah.
Which seems like a big deal.
I mean, yeah, for a country that then does, I mean, like the largest one is, I think Romania or something. One NATO nation has 75,000 troops in it, which is like pretty insane of like these battalions, or battle groups, sorry. But yeah, no, Bulgaria got, at the beginning of the conflict, they got like, I think 1,000 or whatever, something like that. And they've been like, I think it's like a helicopter, like squad or some shit. I don't know exactly what it was. But yeah, good football, good for them. So, glad that they're finally.
I don't really know how to. It's kind of being pulled on both sides. I mentioned the BSP and they're being pro-Russia before. There is a lot of links between Bulgaria and Russia economically, whatever. The BSP voted against sanctions, but then of course, or maybe abstained. I forget, but there was a black mark on the.
That means that you're pro-Russia no matter what.
That was definitely being used.
Not realizing that then that probably Bulgaria, if they do sanctions to Russia, would be just like hurting their own economy as well. Like,
now, here's the little interesting wedge. What were we talking about? Oh, well, before I get... No. There's just so much to get to. I don't know where to start. Okay. Now, what's interesting here is one of the first acts, I believe... Certainly after the invasion started, the defense minister under the new government, Stefan Yanev, he was dismissed from his post on March 1st for not calling it a war, only calling it operation. I'm sure there was other
stuff. He proudly used the word special operation.
He just loves saying the word operation. No, I'm sure he's regularly pro-Russia sentiments, certainly in this context. What's interesting about that is that he was the deputy prime minister back in 2017. And then he was the caretaker prime minister of Bulgaria last year. Mm-hmm. So he was prime minister from May to December.
Damn, they had a Russian op as their prime minister.
Then in the new government, like, okay, he was just caretaker, whatever. Then he still gets an important post. He's Minister of Defense. But then these other caretaker ministers who then, kind of leapfrogged him by being prime minister, dismiss him. And if their popularity only comes from being like, the caretaker government's doing all right, let's just keep them around. Then this guy, like, you know what I mean? There's definitely like, I think there's like some kind of push for him. Like people worry about his gaining popularity and
making Bulgaria
and centralizing collecting
fiefdom.
the pro-Russian. collecting the pro-Russian forces behind him. So that's all to say. The front lines of all of this is right in Sofia.
That's right, baby.
Keep your eyes out. I think that's all I wanted to share.
Yeah.
No, 2 more points. The one is that like the government also announced that they were like when their gas contract runs out with Russia in 2022, they're going to look elsewhere, and it's kind of like seeing like, oh, look at them like finally standing up to Russian gas. But they had already like finished this pipeline deal connecting them to Greece's network, I think last year or this year, and it's kind of things that were like in the making for a while can be pitched as like, oh, look, now this is standing up to Russia. This is like an important decision. Even though like pro-Western or not pro-Western or whatever, like Borisov, the last prime minister, was one who initiated the like, what is it, like 5 years to like the process to get on the euro. So it's like, I'm sure in 5 years, whoever's prime minister will take credit for like, bringing the euro to Bulgaria. But it's like, these are like long-term processes that are just being like spun one way or the other. Yeah.
So Bulgaria, like you said, is the future of
certainly a crucible of the dynamics we're talking about.
All right. Well,
wait, I want to share one other funny story.
Okay, yeah.
The prime minister was arrested on corruption charges by the new government, which is always great. And they said explicitly that the reason he was arrested was evidence given by the skull in the summer of 2021 from his exile about like, illegal corruption stuff he did. I mean, I'm sure there's like a million corruption things he did. You can get him on anything, but it was very funny to point out the skull. He might be working his way back.
I bet he will.
The comeback is underway.
All right. Now that, we have to leave New Jerusalem, unfortunately, which is Sofia. We're going to take we're going to sputter around Europe in our little car.
I think Bulgaria is good it contains a lot of these dynamics, but other countries have some illustrative examples too.
Oh,
what else we got?
Agree. Well, you have the list. I've packed our diesel car full of sunflower oil that I've been hoarding. We're ready to go.
Sunflower oil?
What?
Why are people hoarding sunflower oil?
Okay. Partially is because people are afraid of Ukraine, like not, obviously the exports are going to be messed up. One of the funniest things I've heard though is that the major push from this has come from Corona, skeptic groups on Twitter, not because of the war, but because they're afraid that the German government's going to start like rationing everything. And so it's a lot of like this push from
the number one thing you need if you were going to ration is sunflower oil,
which is like the easiest to replace oil. You can replace it with anything else. Like any other vegetable oil will work perfectly fine. Probably maybe even healthier for you. But yeah, no, it's just funny because whenever you go into the store now in Berlin or a lot of other places in Germany, there's just no sunflower, but like every other food oil is still on the shelves.
You can run a diesel car on sunflower oil, right? Or what kind of oils can you run?
Vegetable oils, yeah.
Yeah, any vegetable oil?
Yeah, like preferably if it's like used.
Yeah.
But you can, which is why like I said,
we didn't get let into Bulgaria.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're stuck in Serbia.
Yeah. Oh, we're in Serbia now. There's nothing really going on in Serbia, is there?
I thought there was some pro-Russia.
Oh, no. Serbia's just being really funny right now because they're flexing how much they are not a part of NATO and how much they are not a part of the West. And they're the only country in Europe that's like openly supported Russia's war, or they very much love the word special operation. Yeah. So there's just been
it's
like
not called beer pong.
Yeah, they've just been just pro-Russia with the whole thing. That's about it. There's just been like lots of protests being like, "We love you, baby, Russia, king shit." Remember too, like Russia also like because of the situation with Kosovo, they just don't like NATO as well. Like they see Kosovo as like a NATO enclave, and they're kind of right about that. But yeah, it's just very funny that there's really not much more to say other than look at Serbia just for yourself and just see the absolute insanity of just that there's protests all the time, pro-Russian protests all the time. They yeah, they're just on a different planet, which I think is very interesting because they've always been on a different planet. It's Serbia, baby. They also, I mean, like, yeah, there's a historical reason, of course, too, of why they hate NATO so much. They're like, yeah, like definitely responsible for a lot of bad stuff themselves, but yeah. That's just our. We're driving through Serbia, actually.
Okay. What about anything in Romania? Should we stop by Romania?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
There
in
are some. I think they're doing. NATO's doing some.
Oh yeah. Like I meant, yeah.
exercises
NATO
at the
has.
border.
I mean, there's a bunch of missiles there that the NATO's had there forever. But I think that we should go south.
Okay.
All right.
I have no idea where you're going.
Huh?
I have no idea where you're driving.
We're cruising through the. We were in the Balkans. We're cruising, but I'm feeling. I need to go see La Familia.
Oh, okay.
We're going to Italy,
Is that
baby.
south? I guess it is.
It's very south. Yes.
Of Serbia?
Yeah, you have to go.
Is there? Are we taking a ferry across the sea?
You know it,
Okay.
yeah. So we're taking it to the I believe landlocked city of Pisa, which is one of the oddest things. So what you mentioned the sense about how Bulgaria voted against sending weapons.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of European countries that are bound by their constitution that are not allowed to send weapons.
A lot of constitutions saying a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of constitutions getting broken. So, Italy's constitution has Article 11 that says that they're not allowed to send weapons to an active war zone. Italy, more or less, I guess you could say probably like has been holding true to that. Italy has a massive arms industry, but they can do their own dealings because they're private companies. But the Italian government, not really known to be one that's like doing weapons deals. And because of that, they a bunch of workers in the airport in Pisa found a bunch of weapons being smuggled into humanitarian aid and have now gone on strike because of it, and have now enlisted the help of like the local communist and socialist and anti-imperialist movements and parties. And obviously completely not reported about in most Western medias because obviously bad. That's Russian propaganda. That's made up lies. But yeah, no. So that's a very interesting way that Italy has been like low key trying to like get out of this like Article 11 thing, is that they've been trying to smuggle weapons into the country.
Have you considered that it's not a war zone? It's a special
operations zone. Yeah, that's what the Italian government has been saying too. They're like, I don't know, there's no war going on. It's a special operation. Yeah, but one of the interesting
Western propaganda, as they say, they like they're loading like what were those fighter jets that
Germany bought?
That Poland was supposed to give to
the MiG-29s.
Yeah, the MiG-29.
Yeah,
just pushing a MiG-29 onto like a raft and pushing it out to sea, saying like, "There's no war."
Yeah, that was another weird one that we never talked on the show either about, is that like Poland tried to do like a very like the sketchiest like positioning of planes that they were going to volunteer to fly them. They were going to send MiG-29s with Polish pilots to Ukraine. And then they just like that somehow just like didn't end up being like declassified. Like it didn't end up being classified. They just like openly said it. And NATO was just like, no, you cannot do that. If one of those planes gets shot down with a Polish pilot, that's like NATO aggressive. Like that would be very bad. That would be NATO actively helping, the Ukrainian war effort. But yeah, no, just so the Italian thing's really funny too, because Italy's another country that's like kind of like Bulgaria on this, where they're not completely anti-Russia. I mean, they've gotten a lot of investment too from Russia.
Also, a strangely technocratic government. That's
Italy is the Bulgaria of the West, right? Like
I've always said that.
Sofia and Rome are beautiful this time of year. So, but yeah, I mean, there is a lot of stuff within like of course, the history within NATO and such of like a lot of left wing movements not being very pro NATO, somehow also probably being somewhat more pro Russia in some regards. Greece is also a really good example that then the like youth party of the KKE, the Communist Party, threw like paint at NATO ships, and then they're protesting today or tomorrow of like NATO vessels being sent into Piraeus. So there's like a vibe amongst a lot. But also too, Russia's been heavily investing in Greece as well. So But Italy, like, if I'm not mistaken, like did they ever like approve sanctions? I don't even remember. They were really on the fence about it.
I don't know.
But
A lot of it is like, maybe there's another question for you. Like, there's a lot of the like flashy sanctions, or like sanctions broadly defined, like being kicked out of SWIFT or whatever, can be decided from the top down, whether it's the US or like powerful players. And then a lot of it's like on the individual country level, there's the exceptions keep getting like weird, like what is and what isn't accepted.
Yeah, well, we were talking about that with.
It seems like a lot of the like, the whole like quote unquote West is like aligned behind this project to some degree, or more so certainly than they were before the invasion started. But a lot of the like flashy decisions, like the big things that can be cited as how united the West or Western Europe is, can seem like they're kind of can be unilaterally decided. And then like, I don't know, Italy could just change its mind, right? About
of course they could,
or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, because like the thing is that then the European Union's been the one who's been like passing. I think they're on like the 6th package of sanctions, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just this like, it's just von der Leyen just saying nothing, you know? Like she's going out there and be like, we will attack the Russian oligarchy by banning them from SWIFT, which affects them in no way whatsoever. You know, like that was the thing that was always so funny about the sanctions thing, is that then Europe pretended that they were like hitting the oligarchy by like not doing anything about them, you know, because I think that there was like low key this thing that they probably recognized was like how, like, okay, first off, the city of London would just disappear. Like overnight, money would be gone. Like the amount of Russian, like just like, Russian investment in that city is insane. But I think that then the sense too of that then the longer this war goes on and the sanctions against Russia are going to greatly affect the European economy, as like, because we talked last week with the sense of how it's affecting Russia and how obviously there's a lot of exports that Russia has that Europe does need, not even just like gas, but basic foodstuffs and whatnot that come from Ukraine and Russia. Like I genuinely would like, I mean, I could honestly see then countries like Italy or whatever who are more on the fence about the relationship with Russia being like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. Like we're not going to go full deep into the sanction thing, or they'll be like, you know, quickly overturned and such, you know, if they are executive orders, like we talked about last week as well. But I'm not here to talk about sanctions because I don't know that much about them. So
a lot is afoot.
Europe is
a mess.
Is that it?
That's all I got.
Yeah. Sorry that it's a very gloomy episode. I want to do as much content that is not related to this Ukraine Russia stuff.
I mean, it felt necessary to check in on a lot of these things.
Oh yeah, I think it's also important too to simply just put a little bit of focus on them. It's like while Ukraine and Russia are getting all the focus, Europe's still existing. They're being pretty kooky. You know, simply just, you know, like I said, you know, packing up our diesel, filling it up with sunflower oil and putting along, you know, around seeing what the rest of Europe is doing.
I got a couple points here, just two things I forgot to mention. The one would be the East Med gas pipeline.
Yeah.
That was I think Biden earlier this year said the US wouldn't be funding it, which is effectively a death knell for it, but like that could be one of the ones that Biden can just turn around and if Bulgaria's hooked up to Greece's gas, then it's all part of this like push for, you know, independence from Russian gas. And would also like Biden, I think, canceled or like stopped funding for climate change reasons. And then it's like, well, much like Democratic backsliding, which should tell you something if they consider them at the exact same level, where it's like, there are more important things going on. Okay? We don't care about Democratic backsliding. We don't care about the earth just like, you know, being burnt to a crisp.
Yeah. I think a good thing too to kind of also look at as well with the gas thing is that yesterday, just a little note of that, Azerbaijan like cut off gas to like the Nagorno-Karabakh region. And immediately the political and, you know, social and well-being, you know, crisis that then is now afoot within one day of people not having basic utilities is something that obviously Europe does not want to have happen to it. Like it is like another nation having that much power within the sense of like literally like, your heating, how you pretty much go about doing most of your stuff, like in, food access, stuff like that. Like Europe is not going to want to, like, they are going to talk a talk and, talk about, oh, we're going to get alternative fuels, this and that, which they've not invested in. Yeah, I think that's probably also one of the reasons why then you're just not like, you're going to start seeing them slowly start caving into shit if Russia and Ukraine like settle their beef, because they can't afford it. They don't, what are they going to get? Like Norway's gas, which is running out, or is the like, like we were saying like last week, like is like, they're going to start shipping it in from, from other methods that are not as tried and true as just a pipeline. I don't know. Like, I don't see Europe doing it. Europe's not dedicated in anything except for if it's like, a border regime of death.
Yeah. Two more notes here from Lithuania. Maybe.
Oh, nice.
Maybe
Cool.
to end on a
high note.
Yeah. I'm going to start with this one. It's a little more lighthearted. These are both from a just, predictably bad Washington Post article about the Baltics warned about the threat of Russia, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This is just a little nugget in the middle of the article saying that in the university town of Tartu, one grocery store shelves were empty of iodine. Can you guess why the stores were out of iodine?
Water purification?
No, it's the solution that protects against radiation exposure after nuclear attack. Don't want to, downplay some Lithuanians' fears of a Russian invasion, but a university town running out of like iodine specifically, which
That's
is
really
like,
funny.
What's the number one thing we have to do? There's going to be nukes flying.
Yeah.
Which is like,
I'm sorry. Why would Putin nuke Vilnius?
why would it nuke Tartu?
Yeah. Like, fuck off. You're not important. I don't want to be a dick, but you don't matter.
They have so much iodine, which they're, I assume, cooking their food with.
Yeah.
in
Just whipping up
Tartu.
that. Oh, you would die with the amount of iodine that they're. Oh god, so many Lithuanians are going to be dead from like just iodine sickness. That's really fun. Like the thing I find that's funny is that whenever any one of these like liberal like cranks tries to be like, just look at the Baltics, it's like I'm going to ignore them. The only one that's worth anything is Estonia because they're not completely insane. But Latvia and Lithuania, no, I don't give like their opinion on Russia does not matter to me. Like,
I have another little nugget for you.
Oh hell, is it still Lithuania?
Yes, this is just dropped in the middle of the article.
It's some guy being like, my grandfather was persecuted by the Soviets after he fought with the Forest Boys, who were actually Nazis.
Close. Okay. I'm just going to read it.
All right.
Quote, the Ukrainians are fighting for us, end quote, said Dainius Navikas, a management consultant in Vilnius, the Lithuanian capital. Last week, he donated a vehicle to be converted to military use and delivered to Ukrainian fighters as part of a private aid campaign that has already netted more than 17 million euros from Lithuania's 2.8 million citizens.
Is this that no, wait, did you see that convertible BMW that someone put like a gun on and shit like that?
I didn't see it. I don't know if the management consultant in
was
the one who personally donated it. He doesn't seem to be a famous person. I don't know how the Washington Post interviewed him. When you Google his name, his first thing is his Lithuanian LinkedIn. I think I don't know what car he donated, but they're sending, the management consultants of Vilnius are sending weapons to Ukraine.
Yeah, I salute them. Thank you.
And then it said, if the Ukrainians, if they lose, we could be next.
Okay, whatever. Yeah,
that's the two wolves of the Lithuanian scrambling. You can either buy iodine and feel sorry for yourself,
or you could donate a Lada with a 50 caliber on it.
Who are you gonna be, huh?
Yeah. All right. On that note, contact your local car dealership in Lithuania and give all your donations to them.
Come on down. Just think of all the car jingles you can.
I don't speak Lithuanian.
You could turn in your car, get a free gun, I don't know.
That exists in the U.S. Come on, we already have that. Like, buy a brand new Chevy Silverado and get a brand new AR-15. Like, that's a real thing. You know that.
Yeah.
I'm from that part of the country. I know that it's real. Like, come on.
I'm gonna keep a note. I'm keeping an eye on Lithuania.
Yeah.
They got some funny.
If any part of Europe were to become most like the United States in the most insane way, it would be the Baltics.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you're right. It'll be like buy a car and you get put in the lottery to like go to fight on the front lines. Like, yeah, cool. Europe, you do you. Never change.
And you know what? Don't know about the rest of Europe, but it's beautiful in Berlin today.
It's beautiful.
I'm gonna go enjoy the sunshine. Baby.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna go do that right now. As in, go on a little walk and get some food, and then come back.
Yep.
All right. Bye.
Bye.